Woo! Yes, people, what is good? Hope you are all well and safe tonight. Welcome to your Monday Night Tech and Chill Show Unplugged. I'm your host, Ben, and we are, of course, live. And yep, you can see by the title, it's official. Apple are having their Wanderlust event next week, Tuesday, as of the time of this stream, 12th of September, and we should be seeing the slew of new iPhone 15 series products. And by the title, it looks like we are finally getting Apple's first Ultra device, the iPhone 15 Ultra. It's up in the air whether it's going to be called the iPhone 15 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but we should be getting 4 iPhones replacing the 14 series, which is, of course, iPhone 14, 14 Plus, iPhone 14 Pro, as well as the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, my device, or my iPhone device of choice, was the iPhone 14 Pro. And I obviously did a video on it, which for some reason did so well on why I chose the 14 Pro instead of the 14 Pro Max. But this time round, it looks like Apple are bringing their first Ultra smartphone. And it might not be a pain in the behind to have a big and large iPhone to use again. Yeah, iPhone 15 Ultra, iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Plus, and 15 are going to be official next week, Tuesday. We're going to discuss it and see what's pretty much on the table because there's been some last minute development. And you know me, I don't really like doing leaks and I don't really like doing rumors, especially don't like doing leaks. But this one, we've got to talk about it because it feels like Apple are trying. It feels like Apple are making an effort this time around. Right? It feels like Apple are making an effort this time around. And it's something that I definitely want to see. Because this is looking like the iPhone series that I probably will be so much more excited for compared to the last time I was truly excited for an iPhone, which would have been the iPhone 4 and iPhone 5S. Would have been the iPhone 4 and iPhone 5S. So yeah, we're going to talk about it tonight. iPhone 15 Ultra looks to be officially coming, and we're going to discuss all the things that we know and what we should potentially be expecting. Now, that being said, let's jump into the comments and say hi to everyone and see what's good with everybody. Oh, Felipe, thank you for joining. Sorry about being a few minutes late. I was scripting and just getting to the groove of things, and yeah, thank you for your patience. Starting now. Dwayne, 3007, let's go. Are you not on Twitter as much anymore, bro? Nah, I just don't enjoy using Twitter. I just don't. Twitter's just, it's just too much noise. I don't, I don't enjoy using Twitter. I barely use it. I definitely don't use Twitter to communicate. I use it to broadcast, you know, when something has gone live, but even then, I barely do it because it doesn't really do anything. Like, Twitter is just like, oh, yeah. Um, yeah, Twitter. I don't really enjoy using Twitter anymore. I used to, but it's caused me more annoyance and trouble than it's worth. Jeff, what's good, Mr. Hell? Appreciate you coming in. Blessings to everyone. Tectonic, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Appreciate you coming through, bro. Thanks for coming and joining through. Appreciate everyone that's coming through. We are, of course, live on a Monday night Tech and Chill Show Unplugged, and we are streaming this in crispy 4K ultra high definition 4K UHD. So we got the capacity, the bandwidth, and also the device. Make sure you select higher than 480p, which is standard definition SD. Go all the way up to 720p, which is high definition, up to 1080p, which is full high definition 4HD, up to 1440p, which is quad high definition QHD, and all the way up to the 4K ultra high definition 2160p 4K UHD for the crispiest live stream on Tech YouTube right now. Yes, appreciate everyone being here. We've got 20 concurrent viewers, which I really do appreciate. How do you all feel about, you know, me doing the streams a little bit later? I know I'm based in the UK and I usually try and stream around 8 p.m. UK time. Right now it's BST, which is summer British summertime, but that's going to go back to obviously Greenwich Mean Time, which is going to be an hour back when summertime is officially over and daylight savings kicked in. But I feel like more of you join around the 10 p.m., 11 p.m. time slot here in the UK. So I might have to shift it, especially since I'm obviously doing this full time and I don't have a quote unquote day job as I would normally do, which, I really appreciate all your support and stuff, man. It really means the world. But yeah, appreciate everyone showing up. We're pretty much going to be talking about all things related to the iPhone 15 series, but we're going to narrow it down more on the iPhone 15 Ultra or Pro Max. Whatever, we don't know what it's going to be called yet, but more of the rumors last minute have been gearing towards the fact that some of the changes that are coming to the iPhone 15, the larger one, has warranted Apple finally dubbing it with an Ultra moniker at the end instead of Pro Max. And I think if that's the case, it makes the naming a lot easier and simpler because you're going to go from iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, 15 Ultra. I think, yeah, I'm down. I'm sorry for asking you what washing machine you do have. What? I don't understand, man. The washing machine thing is flipping bugging me. It's killing me still. It's flipping killing me still. Don Covin says, "Howdy, new member of Team Pixel Fold or Team Fold. Sorry, not Team Pixel Fold. Hold on. Fold 4. Still don't have the Fold 5 yet. Pixel Fold. Welcome to the Foldable Club. 3 p.m. here, West Coast Canada, so it's good here. Wow, yeah. Shout out to just West Coast people in general. That 8 hour time difference is. Don't play. Don't play. iPhone 15 Ultra, excuse me. Are iPhone trying to copy Samsung now? Yeah, probably are. And mind you, the Ultra name isn't just birthed to Samsung only. I know Samsung are the ones that really pushed it from the S20 Ultra, but Xiaomi have the Ultra. Motorola has the Ultra. It's yeah, they're copying if that's going to be the case. They're copying if that's going to be the case. So that's the kind of situation. So, Fold 5, sorry, I can't get the Pixel Fold here yet. All right, yeah. It's not available in Canada. I just remembered it's not available in Canada. It's not available in Canada. So, yes, wow. Wow. I don't even know where to look when it comes to iPhone 15 stuff, if I'm going to be honest with you. Because this is just one part that I really generally just try and keep myself surprised in. But apparently there's a Twitter account called Margin Boo. Flipping Margin Boo. This is what we've got into now. We've got Twitter accounts called Margin Boo. Um, Let me see what on and see some of the things that the said Margin Boo is meant to be bringing up. Um, Let me see. Is it Margin Boo? Nah. Nah, it's a different one. Margin Boo. Nah. I don't even know. I don't even know where to even find this one, man. But we're gonna pretty much be going through some of the things that I've heard that Apple are gonna be bringing when it comes to the iPhone 15 series. Okay? Okay, well, we got iPhone. Django Green. I don't think it's going to be called Ultra, but I do think it was going to stick to the 15 Pro Max. Yeah, let's see. Jerry Joseph, curious if you feel the 15 Pro Max will surpass the S23 Ultra phone of the year. I will not rule it out. I will not rule it out entirely. I always say this that phones as predictable as the smartphone industry is now, you never really know how much a phone can surprise you until you get it in the hand. Case in point, the Galaxy Z Flip 5. I'll be honest, I'm still not a flip person, but my initial thoughts of what the flip was to when I did my initial hands-on to actually having the device and using it, honestly, it's so good. That if you're into flips, it's such a great flip to get. Samsung did a fantastic job on that, right? But in my mind, I didn't think it was going to be all that much better just because of what they did to it, but it makes such a huge difference, right? So yeah, it's got every potential, but yeah, also you've got to give credit to Samsung for the S23 Ultra. It's held its own. It's really, really held its own. And considering that's a phone that was announced 1st of February at the beginning of the year, it's held its own. It's held its own. It's really held its own. The Dragon Ball is legendary. Yes, it is. Do you prefer Samsung or iPhone? I'm much more of a Samsung and an Android user, if I'm going to be dead honest. Bailey in the house. I'm watching in 4K HDR OLED. Baby, my general. Yes, what's good? What's good? What's good? Appreciate you being in here as per usual, consistent and always showing the support and love. Right. There's a good couple of things really just to be considered when it comes to the iPhone 15 Ultra. Right. Let me see if I can find anything, man. iPhone 15 Ultra. Whew. Mm, 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 mm. The biggest design upgrade. Okay, let's see what's good. Let's see what's good. Okay, let's see. Maybe this might work. Chrome tab. Let's see what's good. Transition. So I found this article on. So when was this? This is the 4th of September. This was today, funny enough. iPhone 15 Ultra. So this is the guys over at phonearena.com. The biggest design upgrade to the iPhone in 5 years might be invisible to the eye. Meanwhile, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so apparently, obviously, this is one of them. It's going to be lighter and stuff. A lot lighter, actually. Yeah, because of the titanium body. Okay, so weight reduction. That's going to be interesting. Right, but I don't think there's anything else. Tom's Guide, Macworld, Pro Max Ultra. Oh Lord, they're just sticking everything in there for search. We're all in this hunting together. Let's see. I hope you enjoy your iPhone 15. I hope so too. Portland, Jamaica in the building. I never thought I would be this much into foldables. You really can't understand it until you experience it. And you see, I love what you said, Don. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in the final conclusion point of everything that I'm feeling about what this iPhone 15 Pro and Ultra series is gonna be like, right? Okay, so right. The iPhone 15 could have a new name, lots of new features, which launches this fall. Here's everything we know about the iPhone 15 Pro Max, aka the iPhone 15 Ultra. Right? We're only 8 days away from the announcement. We're only 8 days away from the announcement. We're pretty much going to be a week in after this live stream. So yeah, buckle up, Dorothy. Kansas City is going bye bye. Still going to be a 6.7-inch display. It's going to be the lightest one that they've actually done so far. And there's going to be a new raw titanium gray color and a dark blue color. It's going to be like 50 shades of different grays that they're going to be having on there because of the titanium metal alloy chassis frame that they're going to be using. Announcement date is going to be on the 12th, which is next week, Tuesday, which is officially announced by Apple themselves. Um, Again, I will see what it's called. Maybe it's still going to be Pro Max. Who knows? Right? Price is definitely going to be increased, no doubt. Apparently, it's going to start at $1,300, which means £1,349 in the UK for sure. Um, what else we got? What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Okay, couple of things to really consider. Okay, so design, right? First thing that I'm really looking at here that's going to be a very interesting take when it comes to the design experience is what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Let me come out of studio mode to be fair. Boom. Right. The design. iPhone barely used this phone. iPhone 14 Pro. Right. Here. We've had the stainless steel body for a decent amount of time now, right? This is one area that is being changed. Apple apparently are going to be using to a are going to be moving to a titanium alloy chassis construction for the frame and the main core metal body of the phone before we consider the glass that's going to be put on there, which I feel like Apple and Samsung do some of the nicest, can't even speak, nicest, can't even speak, nicest, nicest frosted matte finish at the back. But you see, moving to a titanium alloy not only makes the phone lighter, but it's going to be much more rigid and stronger. This is the type of metal alloy construction that you find being used in supercars. It's crazy. So if they're moving to a titanium alloy, the phone is going to be a lot lighter than before. And Lord knows, especially for the Pro Max slash Ultra, large iPhones in general, the brickzilla of my goodness, what the phone feels like. I've been complaining about that since the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I purchased myself. And that was a pandemic phone. That was the first generation phone that decided not to put chargers in the phone, put chargers with the phone, right? I've never liked the 12 Pro Max when it comes to this, the size and the feel of it, right? It just got too bricky, too uncomfortable, and wasn't enjoyable to use. I ended up selling it. I ended up selling it because I genuinely did not enjoy the 12 Pro Max at all when it comes to the size and the ergonomics and the feel. 13 Pro Max, still the same. I prefer the 13 Pro, in my personal opinion. And again, the reason why I didn't go for the 14 Pro Max was because of that experience I had prior to, and I made a video about it where, thanks to you all that came onto the channel and showed love to it, it's been the most engaging video throughout the year that I've had, where it's done more than 110K plus views. Why I gave my reasons why I went for the 14 Pro rather than 14 Pro Max. And I love the comment section really just got onto me about my little baby hands and whatnot. I love the engagement, but I gave my reasons for this reason. And if Apple are gonna somehow make it lighter by using a titanium alloy metal chassis frame, and also the benefits that come with titanium as an alloy, obviously because it's not going to be titanium just on its own, it's an alloy, so that means for my chemistry people it's a mixture of different metal elements put together and constructed. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting one. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. um yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, and that's something I'm there for. I don't know what other design cues that they're going to be going for. Are they still going to be going for a more boxy design? Are they going to add a bit of a curve to it? I don't know. I don't know. But it seems hell bent that when it comes to the Pro and the Ultra, i.e., the Pro and the Top and the Pro Max of the 15 series, this is going to be a good switch up. This is going to be a good switch up. I just hope that instead of the glossy end finish that you've got there, that somehow, some way, they do add a matte satin finish to the metal frame, just like what they've done with their normal number series, right? Obviously, the normal number series, they contrast the opposite where the frame is matte, but the back of the glass is a glossy finish, whereas the back of the glass here is matte, but the frame is glossy. But I feel like with what Samsung did with the Mystic Bronze, was it the Mystic Bronze edition of the Note 20, where although the back was a matte finish, the rail was actually a satin matte finish, and it worked. And it worked. I think this is something that Apple can definitely do. So first is the design and the build quality. This looks to be something that they're really stepping up with the design and the the materials being used. I'm excited to see if that's definitely true. It looks hell bent to be the case. Now let's jump into the comments. I'm betting on the Ultra to match what they've been charging most likely. Yeah. Is there going to be a 15 Pro Max? Now, word on the street, Felix, is that this 15 Pro Max is meant to be redubbed as a 15 Ultra because of the changes and upgrades that they're bringing to it. And I'm pretty much just going through my pick of the things that I've kind of been seeing when it comes to rumor mill stuff on what it could be that Apple feel confident enough to justify it to be called an Ultra, right? So we're going to go through it, whether that's going to be the case or not, and they're going to stick to the same iPhone 15, 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro, and then iPhone 15 Pro Max. Who knows? Who knows? I got a 13 Pro Max, nice, due an upgrade. Yep, at least on a bare minimum. Upgrading on a 2-year basis makes sense. 3 years is a bit more sensible if you can look after the phone, and battery health is still reasonable. But yeah, most people do push for 4 years if possible. So yeah. Howdy everybody. Damn, Dan. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you coming through. Sorry for everything I said before. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. Just chill, relax, just enjoy the show as per. What's up, Dan? Love that. So the design and the build quality is one. What's next? What's next, people? What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Switch back to, was it camera one and browser? There we go. Switch back. And what we got? Camera. Let's talk about the camera because this is going to be an interesting one. 15 Pro Max reportedly takes things even further. Literally, the iPhone 15 Ultra is expected to get a new periscope zoom lens, which will reportedly raise the optical zoom capability from 3x all the way up to 6x or 10x. I would say 6x is more likely, with a digital zoom that's likely to reach 30 or 50x with incredible clarity. Yep. This camera enhancement could result in a larger camera bump, rumors claim. Yep, of course. Now, the ultra wide will likely be the wide and the ultra wide will likely be the same in terms of resolution at 48 megapixels and 12 megapixels respectively. But Apple will surely refine the processing and also, have a much more efficient LiDAR scanner apparently. Now, here's what I've heard. Away from just seeing that as well, what I've heard in retrospect to this upgrade is that periscope zoom. Now, this is what Apple are feeling a lot more confident to call this potentially the iPhone 15 Ultra, because there's times where Apple have this reputation where the smaller and the bigger Pro device or the smaller and the biggest flagship devices do have different camera sensors. They did this with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, where the 6 didn't have OIS, but the 6 Plus did have OIS. If you look at the iPhone 7, that was the first time they introduced portrait mode and a dual camera lens. But that dual camera lens and portrait mode was exclusive to the iPhone 7 Plus and not the 7, because the 7 had a single camera lens, where the 7 Plus had a dual camera lens. This was also the same with the 8 and 8 Plus, right? I had the dual camera lens, single camera lens, and of course the iPhone 10 was first introduced in 2017 at that time, and it did have a dual camera lens. Now, when we moved to the iPhone XS and XS Max, things were the same, right? Things were the same. When we moved to the iPhone 11 Pro series, things were the same. iPhone 11, the XR, the iPhone 10R at the time, was a single camera lens. So that was the single camera lens. But again, the similarities of the X and the XR, XX Max or 10X Max was the same. And that was the first Max device that they introduced. 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, I believe was still the same. Yeah, both got a triple camera system. That's when they added the 2x zoom, the ultra wide, and they also added your main camera. And that was on the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. At the time, that's what they did. Then you had the iPhone 11, which was an ultra wide and the main. And I think that was the lineup then, if I do remember that right. It was the iPhone 12 Pro that they did something slightly different. Very similar. Main and ultra wide were the same. But I believe the 12 Pro only had a 2x zoom. Again, I'm just going off memory here. So the 12 Pro had a 2x zoom, while the 12 Pro Max had a 3x zoom, but with a slightly lower aperture but better reach. So that's the difference. So you see that the differentiating factor came from the iPhone 6 series, iPhone 7 series, 8 series, and then the iPhone 12 series. And then things were pretty much on parity with the iPhone 14, 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. And the same thing where the iPhone 14 Pro and the 13 Pro, 14 Pro Max were on the same camera experience, especially when it comes to the physical hardware, to the software. Things are going to break away to be different, but the difference is going to be huge because the main camera sensor apparently on the 15 Ultra or 15 Pro Max is said to be a bigger sensor at 1 over 1.14 inch, right? In terms of the sensor size. The sensor size is meant to be bigger. This is a new main sensor from Sony apparently. But then obviously what we're getting, which is the biggest deal here, is a 6x periscope dedicated zoom lens up from the 3. Now, it does considering I've openly said this that my ideal camera setup would be a quad camera system with a 0.5x ultra wide field of view at 123 degrees, a main wide sensor with the equivalence of somewhere between 20 to 28 millimeters of full frame when it comes to the field of view, at no more than 50 megapixels, because in my opinion, you don't need any more than 48 or 50 megapixels, so you've got the option to have 8K video recording. Anything else apart from that is excessive. I'd rather have around 50 to 48 megapixels, have bigger sensors and have a bigger micron pixels and a bigger sensor, IMO, in my opinion. Apologies if I'm talking too fast, but sorry, not sorry. From that retrospect, I would then want a mid-range zoom at 3x, definitely 3x, because with the improved processing, and Apple really showcased this well, with the improved processing, you can get a very good quality 2x zoom experience on a main sensor, right? Especially with these high resolution 48, 50 megapixel sensors, you can do that. Then you've got the option of a nice 2x zoom mode when it comes to general zoom, portrait mode. And then the 3x gives you another nice range of extension when it comes to zoom and also great as a portrait zoom lens. With that in mind, for the super extended range, 6x. I've said this, 6x is my ideal. And I think the last company that did a 6x periscope zoom was actually Oppo. I might be wrong, but I can't remember. I know one of their models had a 6x periscope zoom lens, and it was perfect. Give me the extension of all the way up to 60x digital zoom, and you're good. So I don't think there's any word on the street that pretty much says that this iPhone 15 Pro Max or 15 Ultra is going to have a quad camera system like what we have on something like the S23 Ultra, which covers a nice range, but really takes it to the extreme with that 10x periscope zoom. It's like goated. I'm now worried that it might fall short slightly within that mid-range zoom area for clarity, but also flexibility when it comes to portrait mode. But regardless of that, just like what makes me really enjoy using the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel Fold, having a ultra wide, a main camera that is 48 megapixels, and as well as a zoom that is 48 megapixels. So yeah, 48 megapixels and it's 5x. Yeah, Apple, I'm so glad you're taking zoom seriously. I'm so glad you're taking zoom seriously. Now, For the years that I've camera comparison and I've really tested iPhone cameras against other manufacturers, mainly being Samsung, which again, I cannot thank you all enough for my initial camera comparison of the S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Pro, and how it's literally the highest viewed video on the channel, and for it to be a 24-minute video in depth like that, and you guys really chewed it up like that, I cannot thank you enough for that level of support. But it shows that that's the one that you all really want to see, because it's the clash of the titans, right? And it looks like Apple are really bringing it forward and really wanting to showcase that they care when it comes to an ultra camera experience. Would it be justified enough to call it ultra? In Apple's eyes, probably. Maybe for us Android users that have been experiencing since 2020 with the S20 Ultra and also phones like the Note 20 Ultra, not having a quad camera system, right, might not justify it to be ultra. But then again, in Apple's eyes, them putting a 6x periscope zoom, yeah, maybe this might be the time. Either way, I can't wait to get it in. I can't wait to test it. I can't wait to throw it in the arena and gauntlet against the S23 Ultra to really see what's really good. Don't know if there's going to be any updates on the selfie. And I have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to the software experience itself, when it comes to especially video capturing on the iPhone. Things like not being able to pause and continue recording on the same clip, not being able to flip to the selfie while you're recording, not being able to switch between your lenses in the rear camera when you're recording in 4K 60. Yes, all the lenses record in 4K 60, but if you start on the ultra wide, or you start on the main, or you start on the zoom, you can't switch to the others without stopping recording completely and starting again on a fresh clip, which isn't as seamless as when you record in 4K 30 on the rear camera. But even then, 4K 30 on the rear camera is not really as flexible, just based on the fact that yes, you can switch between the lenses, but you can't switch to the selfie, and you can't pause the video and continue recording on the same clip. Amongst other things, I'm really, really excited to see this camera in action. With the normal Pro, which is 6.1 inches, I believe, like the smaller 6.1 inch device, I believe the camera system is probably going to be near enough the same that they're going to be working with. They might give it the new main sensor if the new main sensor is definitely guaranteed. But I believe the ultra wide and the zoom is still going to be on the same 0.5x field of view, and a 3x zoom. Maybe the 3x zoom gets improved in some retrospect, but I think the ultra this time really gets a juggernaut of the improvement. Guaranteed when it comes to the zoom, potentially get a new camera sensor, whereas the Pro pretty much got to be sitting within its bag and just helping with the processing being improved. Let's see what you're saying. My wife just got the 14 Pro Max. Setting up the phone was the first time I was thinking, damn, I get it. And now I want an iPhone for the first time. No, please do not hate me. Now, no one's hating you, man. Your money. And hey, if you're in the mood to try something new and work with it, man, ain't nobody hating on you, man. Get it. Get it. And that's the beauty of these smartphones and just where they've come right now. All right, let's switch it up and let's go back. We've talked about the design, we've talked about the camera. Let's talk about the specs and the performance, because here's where we are. Now, although I'm not really talking about the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, I think it's synonymous to know that Apple's strategy now is that the normal numbered phones get last year's flagship chipset. So the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus should be getting the A16 Bionic chip, which is what's in the iPhone 14 Pro right now. Whereas the Pro devices, the Pro Premium flagship devices, which are, in this case, the Pro and the Pro Max, or the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Ultra, they get the latest and greatest that Apple put, because in Apple's eyes, they're offering such a bespoke, tightly knitted experience when it comes to the system on the chip and the power on the processor compared to the competition, that they're so far ahead. And I mean, I hate to admit it, but they're very far ahead when it comes to more performance to efficiency as well. Cool. What we should be seeing is the A17. What makes the A17 special is the fact that this should be the first publicly available mobile chipset in a mobile device that supports a true 3 nanometer process. This is a big deal. Big deal. And considering Apple have been using a 5 nanometer process from the A14 that was introduced in 2020 with the iPhone 12 series, the ones that really know how manufacturing processes work, the 4 nanometer die shrink isn't really a true die shrink compared to 3 nanometers. The 4 nanometer chipset or the 4 nanometer process is almost like a derivative of the 5 nanometer chipset. And although it went for a generation 1 and a generation 2, right? The generation 1 being on the iPhone 13 with the 15 bionic, A16 with the generation 2 4 nanometer process from Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. This is a true next generation die shrink. And this is pretty much giving an architectural preview to the M3 chip that should be in the Max, and a performance increase with the transistor increase within the same space. Apparently, we're getting an extra GPU core. Although the specs look to be very similar, apparently the clock speeds are going to be going up to 3.7 gigahertz compared to 3.456. This is interesting. This is interesting, and apparently we're meant to be getting an extra graphics core to 6 instead of 5, which could make it even closer to their M1 chip that's in a laptop, but in a phone. And it's a 3 nanometer process. So, yeah, this is looking very promising. This is looking very promising when it comes to the specs and the performance of what we're getting right here. My only point of concern that I see with this is I have a bias against iOS not really allowing you to use the power of your hardware based on the fact that no true multitasking, no true ability to organize the home screen how you want, customize how you want. So I have a bias against iOS in that retrospect, even if it's not for customization, just how limited things feel when you really want to use it the way you want to use it. But I can't lie, in terms of performance around the chipset, especially when it comes to efficiency, this is looking promising. And looking promising is one thing. The only thing I've heard in terms of the rumors is apparently Apple is still going to be sticking to a 6 gigabyte RAM of LPDDR5 configuration. And I know people are going to make the reason and excuse of, when it comes to RAM management, because it's iOS, it doesn't need that much RAM. Apple's RAM management is kind of it's more of a miss than a hit, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I really hope, at least for the bigger Pro Max or the bigger Ultra, whichever one they decide to call it, they do at least up it to 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know if they're going to use LPDDR5X, which obviously Samsung have in the latest flagship phones. But even if it's not in this LPDDR5, hey, it's all good. Just increase the quantity by another 2 gigabytes. We've had 6 gigabytes since 2020 with the iPhone 12 Pro series. An extra 2 gigabytes of RAM will go a long way, even for you, iPhone and Apple on iOS. Another thing that's been told is the fact that the 128 gigabytes of storage base is now gone. We should be getting an increased base storage to 256, which is fantastic. What that basically means is, in the past, with the introduction of ProRes, Apple limited being able to record in 4K 30 FPS ProRes to iPhones that had more than 256 gigabytes of storage. If you had less than that at 128 gig, it was limited to 1080p 30. And again, things have moved forward. Samsung with the Galaxy Z Flip 5 no longer have a 128 gig model anymore. It's 256 that it starts with. So again, it shows that things have moved up. And if Apple are doing that to justify the means of it being more of a Pro or an Ultra device, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Other things such as the latest Bluetooth 5.3 as well as Wi-Fi 6E, which Wi-Fi 6E isn't the absolute latest in terms of Wi-Fi protocol. Obviously, Wi-Fi 7 has been announced, but again, I've not seen any Wi-Fi 7 routers about any time recently. So I think they can get away with one more year of it being on Wi-Fi 6E. I believe previously it was on Wi-Fi 6, but again, don't quote me. And as a collective, when it comes to the specs and performance, I really hope everything that they're doing, they don't ruin it by not improving the internal cooling capabilities of the iPhone. And again, give or take where you are, who you are, what your experience has been with the iPhone, I know there's a lot of people that have experienced not so good cooling efficiency when it comes to the iPhone in general, especially with the 14 Pro, with the increased screen brightness that they had going for it and whatnot. Cool. But overall, I'm very, very excited to see how this collective performance increase is like on the iPhone. Even though I just still feel like however improved iOS 17 is, I don't think iOS really allows you to kind of have that level of flexibility and raw software performance tap into your chipset and overall performance, right? So just that to consider. Is the Apple Watch Series 8 okay, or best wait for the Series 9 soon as it's unveiled by Apple? I'm not really a watch person in that retrospect. I definitely would recommend you go over to my homeboy Fresh, filmed by Fresh, aka Courtney Hill. He does great, watch content. I know Mark Ellis is another one that does great watch content. I don't care about smartwatches enough to follow it too deep, in my opinion. I love a lot of tech, but sometimes a lot of tech can be too much, and I have to kind of filter out which one I like. I guess it's gonna be fine, but you might as well just wait for the Series 9. It's around the corner. They're gonna announce a new Apple Watch. It's gonna make the previous one cheaper. Who knows? I have my iPhone 13 Pro Max RAM did better than the S20 Ultra RAM. Yeah. But, more RAM is not going to hurt, especially if it's an Ultra device. What else we got? What else do we have? Right? There's another big change for the iPhone 15 Pro Max as its anticipated move to USB-C. La di da di do. Not only will USB-C let users use the same cable to charge their phone, iPad, and Mac finally, but it should also boost data transfer speeds. Lightning is currently capped at 480 megabits per second, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max's or Ultra's USB-C port is reportedly going to support Thunderbolt transfer speeds up to 40 gigabits per second. That being said, that is apparently only meant for the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Ultra, or slash the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Talk about the bare minimum. Because the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are going to have USB 2 speeds. Yeah, which is 48 gigabits per second, megabits per second, 480 megabits per second. This is the bare minimum. Bro, on Android, if you go all the way back to the LG Nexus 5X, you go all the way back to the OnePlus 2, OnePlus's second generation smartphone, back in 2015, these devices had USB-C. If we're not even counting that, and we're going to be using the mass market iPhone, if we're going to be using a mass market Android phone, right? The Google Pixel, the first generation Google Pixel had USB-C, and that was 2016 holiday season, around September, October period. And then if we're going to be using the mass market Samsung Android device that really put USB-C on the map, the Galaxy 8, S8 and S8 Plus, this was somewhere around February 2017, had USB-C. Bruh, Apple, you're about 6-8 years late to the party, right? So this gives off bare minimum vibes. And it was only for the fact that you lot got applied heavy pressure by the EU to change it. But, iPhone 15 and 15 Plus aside, if you're telling me you're coming this late to the party and you're going to flex on everyone and add Thunderbolt 4 capabilities with up to 40 gigabits per second transfer speeds over USB-C, you know what? I'm going to almost let you have it. I say almost because don't get caught out. Apple ain't going to supply that cable in the box. They're probably going to still give you a USB 2.0 transfer speed cable. You're probably going to have to get your own USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 cable to enjoy those massive transfer speeds, right? Just a heads up. But having the capability to do that, that is a major flex. That's a major flex to come this late into the game and just say, yeah, you know what, we've been late, right? How about we give you Thunderbolt 4, 40 gigabits per second, up to speeds? And it just makes the justification of recording in ProRes. Anyone that doesn't know anything about ProRes, it's a professional resolution Apple-based mezzanine codec. Hey, whoop-de-doo, I said some fancy words to make myself seem smarter than I am. That right there, that right there, that right there is going to make the justification of transferring ProRes and large files so much easier. AirDrop is not the complete answer. AirDrop is not the complete answer. This is the answer. Right? So, if, how can I put it? If the case of being late to the party and allowing lightning to strike more than twice was a person, Apple have won this award. Talk about dragging your feet. And I don't want to I don't want to be simping and making it seem like, oh yeah, it's this, but at least if this is their approach, you know what? That's a big flex. That's a big flex. We'll give you the fastest USB-C you can get on any smartphone. Boom. 15 Ultra, 15 Pro, USB 4, aka Thunderbolt 4 speeds, up to 40 gigabits per second. Cable not supplied. You will get a cable, but the leaks and the rumors that I've seen, the cable does look very high quality when it comes to it being braided. On the normal 15 series that have different colors, it looks like the braided cables are color matched. On the normal, on the Pro and the Ultra series, where the colors are a bit kind of like on the gray side and muted, it looks like they're still clean and color coordinated as well. It's braided, it's stronger, it's tougher, it's higher quality. I'm liking the look of it. I'm vibing with it. It's finally about time, Apple. Finally. 6-7 years later, finally, we appreciate it. Thank you. What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? What else have we got? Here's what else that I'm generally really excited for. That's gonna really push me into producing a lot of testing stuff that I just really haven't done. Right. Apart from this, it's also suggested that this iPhone 15 will finally deliver faster charging at 35 watts. Okay, again, we're walking on bare minimum territory, but let's break it down, right? Currently, there's a maximum of 20 watts on the iPhone 14 and 27 watts on the 14 Pro. The 27 watts, it doesn't really support it as such. You kind of have to get a 30-watt charge. It's complicated. There's also been rumors that the iPhone 15's USB-C cable is just as slow as Lightning, though. Okay, whether the capacity of the new cables will be color matched. Okay, additionally, the 15 Pro Max will almost certainly have Wi-Fi 6E, as I mentioned before. Boom, 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 boom. Qualcomm's 5G modems. But here's the thing. Like we stated before, 6 gigabytes of RAM is what's meant to be still there. Storage is meant to be boosted as a minimum 256 all the way up to 2 terabytes, apparently. And obviously, there is an indication of it still being 8 gigabytes of RAM if possible, but, you know, people are saying that they've only seen 6 gigabytes in terms of leaks and stuff. But here's where things get really interesting. Battery capacity. We are looking at some of the biggest batteries put in an iPhone to date, right? Where when we start with the 15, this is looking to be an increase to 3,877 milliamps. You know how Apple are, they just weird with their battery capacities. This is up from the 3,279 on the iPhone 14. 15 Plus is still set to have the biggest battery on an iPhone, 4,912. It's close to being a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. And boy, even with the A16, that's going to be a very interesting one. iPhone 15 Pro goes up to 3,650 milliamps, up from 3,200 from what we have here. And then the 15 Pro Max is meant to be 4,852. which is up from 4,323 milliamps. This is going to be crazy, especially on the 15 Pro Max with a 3nm processor, hopefully with better efficient cooling, and also an LTPO display that has a variable refresh rate and adaptive refresh rate with the Apple Pro Motion Retina display that can go all the way down to 1 Hz, which I believe that 1 Hz only really applies to always on display. I don't think that applies to just a normal static usage. That probably only goes down to 24 or 10 Hz. But with that being an LTPO display compared to the 60 Hz display that will be still on the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, that's not adaptive, which is quite disappointing. This is going to be an interesting lookout to things when it comes to the battery. I will probably be doing a comprehensive battery charging test with all the relevant chargers and the cables that work with it. It's going to be a difficult one because I'm only going to be able to order one iPhone. I know more people are going to be, the ones that are going to be doing it. I think my boy Sean, aka Simply Pops, he does those videos very well when it comes to charging test videos and stuff. So rate him for that. Those are not easy to do, but I'm gonna attempt to do that myself. So it's gonna have to be in singularities or being able to record one, record another, record another, record another, record another, and then split screen it. Somehow, right? I think I'm just gonna have to do it that way. It's gonna be taxing and an absolute pain to edit, but let's do that. And I think just because of the batteries being that damn good and the switch USB-C and the new faster charging and whatnot, I'm going to figure out how to do a battery drain test. And again, battery drain tests are not completely indicative of absolute and true real world battery usage because you're not out and about, you're not bouncing off different cell towers, you're not dealing with automatic brightness, having to adjust sporadically. The physical elements outdoors changes so much of how a phone works that you'd be very shocked, right? But I'm still going to give it as a test, as a reference point against what Samsung have and other devices and whatnot, right? Just to give a retrospect of how things are when it comes to the battery life, because these battery figures, when it comes to the capacity, especially when you consider the 15 Pro Max or the 15 Ultra, using a 3nm process on the A17, hopefully with better cooling and dissipation and heat management and whatnot, and having a 35-watt fast charger capability, again, cable and charging brick, to be verified on which one is going to be best to use. This is looking insane. No, okay, this is looking insane when it comes to battery life, but not for charging. Again, doesn't mean we're going to be getting an iPhone that charges to full from 0 in an hour. I don't think so. Maybe an hour, 20 minutes, maybe an hour, 30 minutes, no more 2 hours. I reckon maybe an hour, 15. I reckon maybe an hour, 20 minutes tops, to full charge when it comes to the Pro Max or the Ultra or the Pro, in my opinion. But when it comes to battery endurance, yeah, these iPhones are looking to be on smoke, especially that 15 Pro Max or the 15 Ultra. Even though the battery capacity is slightly smaller than what you have on the 15 Plus. Our 15 Plus is using an A16 chip, and the deficit isn't that much. The deficit isn't that much, where I still think it will pull ahead. So I'm excited. I love doing charging test videos. I love knowing about how phones charge, their batteries behave and stuff. It's very important for mobile. This is looking very, very interesting for the iPhone 15 series. Okay, what we got? George, Samsung S23 versus iPhone 14. I need help to get one. Yes, what's good, Jeff, aka the digital slang in the house? What's good, brother? Hope you're well, hope you're safe. Hope you are well, man. Appreciate you coming through. We are pretty much discussing all things related to the iPhone 15 Ultra being officially availed next week, Tuesday. Or is it going to be still called the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Who knows? But either way, we've got Apple's Wanderlust appearance event. And this is something that's going to be very interesting to see in that retrospect to get out there, man. So, yeah. One last honorable mention, which I'm not really that bothered about and I'm not really that fussed, is going to be the display. Here's the thing, right? The display is something that's been put out there because yes, the 14 Pro Max is pretty much going to be using a super. It does use a Super Retina XDR display. This is something that obviously they've had since the iPhone 12. It's not expected to change in the 15 Pro Max. What will still be the case is that you're going to have a dynamic island, of course, as they call it, but it's a pill touch bar, in my opinion. The ProMotion technology, when it comes to the refresh rate, is still going to be there. Always on display, true tone, 2000 nits, peak brightness when it's outdoors. It's pretty much going to be that. I think what the rumors are saying is slimmer bezels, right? So what it says, the ultimate iPhone will reportedly have extremely skinny bezels, possible even thinner than the 15 Pro. But this is what we're being told, apparently, that the visual presentation of the bezels are going to be super skinny and it's going to feel like an almost all-screen experience. This is going to be something that's going to be very interesting, and we'll just have to wait and see. You know, am I really bothered about the display being extra skinny when it comes to the bezels? No, but visually, I won't complain if they pull it off because it's going to make the phone look amazing. And I think it will actually wrap shrink the phone around when it comes to the outer frame and a physical frame, while still being able to have a thicker phone that houses a bigger battery. I think it's going to balance out really well. And the rate reduction of using titanium as an alloy metal chassis, I think they're in a good place. So that's going to be a very interesting one to see. I think those are extra brownie points if they can pull it off, alongside the weight reduction that comes with the materials they're going to be using. It's sad that Apple doesn't have any competition in the premium space. Android is seen as budget, unfortunately, and I 100% disagree with that. I don't know where you're getting that kind of energy and smoke from, but that is an opinion you're entitled to. But I highly disagree with that. And I highly disagree with that because the price increase for these phones are going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. Rumors are pointing out that this larger Pro Max 15 series or Ultra is going to start at $1,300 or $1,299. That doesn't include taxes. What that basically means is for us lot in Europe and especially UK, we're going to get bumped. This phone is going to start no more than £1,350 guaranteed. And here's where my problem is. For an iPhone, this is probably for an iPhone the most excited as a Samsung and Android fanboy I've been for an iPhone since the iPhone 4 and iPhone 5S. Those are the two iPhones I hold in the most highest regard when it comes to what the iPhone experience meant to me personally when I owned these devices. And I've owned a lot of iPhones. I've owned a 3G. I've owned a 3G, 3GS. I missed the 3GS. My first iPhone was a 3G. Got that 2008 as a present for myself when I went to university. Then was the iPhone 4. Skipped the 4S. Then I owned a 5 and a 5S. I skipped the 6 because the 6 was shocking. I didn't really like it. 6S, I got that. 6S Plus to be specific. And that was the phone I used to start my YouTube channel. That was my YouTube video camera that started the channel from 2016. So the iPhone 16 was 6S and 6S Plus was such a big improvement. 4K recording, better build quality, great display, so many different things. Rec display, it was so good. Then I had the iPhone. I think I skipped. No, I didn't skip. No, I skipped the 7. I remember I skipped the 7. I got the 8 Plus. Didn't really like it. Returned it. Got the iPhone 10. Kept the 10 all the way through. Got the iPhone 10X Max after I traded my 10 in for the 10S Max. Didn't feel it. Skipped the 11 series. Got the 12 Pro Max. Definitely did not like that. Ended up after half a year selling it. Was not enjoying it at all. 13 Pro was the one I rocked with, and obviously I've got the 14 Pro. So trust me, man, I've been about that life when it comes to iPhones in terms of using it before I was a content creator and also using it while I am a content creator. And I will say that this is the most excited I've been for the iPhone in ages in relation to the 4 and the 5S, but more in relations to the iPhone 15 Ultra or the 15 Pro Max, whatever it's going to be called. Just because it just feels like, although although in Apple's situation, these are a lot of catch up features, and they don't really break the mold in any way, shape, or form in that retrospect. But it's still at least them trying. But is it going to be enough to make me switch? Nah, I just don't have an attraction to iOS that deep. One, I'm not so dependent on it as a platform to survive. Even as someone that uses a MacBook Pro as my main productivity everything device, even away from Windows, in UK and Europe, we're not that locked into iPhones as a platform for us to survive, like how people behave in North America. You know, it's just a fact. It's a fact. The whole iMessage and Face, it really doesn't mean anything to people here in Europe and the UK. It's just a nice addition, but it doesn't really do anything that deep to us, right? I just like the element of Apple seems like they're trying. But then I look at it and I'm thinking, this is something that we've pretty much been experiencing for 3 to 5 years or more, give or take, right? If we're looking at ultra devices, we've been experiencing this for a good 3 years. We're getting into the fourth generation of what we know ultra devices to be on Android. And in fact, within that same time scope that was happening, we've got foldable devices really maturing into their own. Some companies are not trying that hard when it comes to foldables, i.e. Samsung, because they know they're the default best. You've got new players like Google coming in when it comes to the Pixel Fold, established when it comes to the Pixel 5, to the Fold 5, fifth generation, first generation. You know, companies like Honor doing crazy stuff with the Honor Magic VS, right? Where it's got a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 66-watt charging, super thin. Like the design of the V2 on a Magic V2 is so impressive for a foldable. That is physically lighter and thinner. It's crazy. You put all of that in perspective, it's still a slab candy bar phone. Am I excited for it? Yes. But that price increase, can it really justify Apple pretty much really just bringing catch up features? Who knows? I'm open to it just because of the excitement of an iPhone where it seems that Apple are trying enough where it might be more than the sum of the parts. And just like how the Flip 5 proved me wrong, not wrong enough for me to switch from being a fold user to a flip user, but wrong enough to actually say, yeah, flip phones make sense. And this is probably the first flip phone I could be like, yeah, this is them really knocking out of the park. What Samsung absolutely did with the Flip 5. All the accolades and props to that. But this price increase relative to what the form factor is at this stage in smartphones, mm, if bare minimum as a person was really trying hard, yeah, I guess this is it. And for iPhone users, this is great. But for us switching, is it really going to be an S23 killer? I'm not sure. Have to wait and see. That's a wrap, people. That is a wrap, people, for your take on the iPhone 15 Ultra being official and it coming soon. Is it going to be an S23 Ultra killer? Find out next week, Tuesday, when Apple announced on the 12th of September 2023 for their Wanderlust event and all the other products that are going to be actually announced as well. But we wanted to home in and focus on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, aka the iPhone 15 Ultra and the 15 Pro. Google phones get Android 14 tomorrow, my general. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I'm gonna check it. I believe Ahsoka should be coming on in 2 hours. I might just stay up and just watch it because I did nap earlier. Regardless of the price, it's the way in the USA. Samsung's biggest seller is not their phone premium phones. It's always the A series. That's fine, but like I said, you know, that's in the USA. Again, that's in the USA. The price is my biggest concern. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you, Tectonic. I feel you, man. I feel you for real. I feel you for real. I feel you on that one. I do feel you on that one. MD, no. Right. You got 2 minutes with me. We are over the 1 hour mark, which we do like to keep it within an hour. We are over the 1 hour mark. Appreciate everyone for standing in and being here. I think we peaked at top of it. 32 concurrent viewers, which I really like it. I think you lot are really encouraging me to stream a bit later rather than 8 o'clock. Stream at 10, 11, close to midnight if possible. More of you show up, and I really do appreciate that. It helps. It keeps me motivated and great engagement as per. Ask me any questions. Let me know what's good. We've got a new month, September. Fresh slate to really finish off the last 4 months of the 2023 calendar year. Trying to make sure I take care of the physical health as well, get back into some form of shape. We've got big plans, big trips coming up. We just want to make sure that we're in a good place for it, man. We're going to be really, really pushing the boat when it comes to the type of content that we're going to be doing on the iPhone 15 series. Pixel 8 series is going to be coming in October. And of course, apparently Samsung are going to be doing a fan edition phone with the S23 fan edition this time around. There's still so much to close off the year until things start again by going to Consumer Electronics Show next year, which I think I'm still going to go provisionally. That all depends on the guys over at Sam Mobile. But yeah, any questions, man? You got 1 minute, one more minute, and we are checking and signing out. Shout out to the live squad that are in here as well. Shout out to the replay crew. If you're watching this over, really appreciate if you discovered. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Your thoughts on all things related to Apple next week when it comes to the Wanderlust event on the 12th of September, Tuesday. Gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. All right, people, that's it. Hope you're well. Hope you are safe during this time. Hope you all have a great one. Thank you so much for tuning in for your Monday Night Tech and Chill show Unplugged. Happy Labor Day to all my Canadians as well. I don't know if that's the same for Americans as well, but I believe it is Labor Day there as well. Is your equivalent of bank holiday, I guess. It's kind of like what we had over the bank holiday weekend last week. So, yeah, hope you all have a safe one. Hope you're all blessed. Catch you in the next one. Peace.